everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my friend Dipal Shah. Hi, Dipal.
Hey, how are you, Kathy? It's so great to be here with you today.
Yes. And we're going to be doing a big event in a week or so. My goodness, time's flying.
It definitely is. I can't believe it's almost April. I mean, we've been talking about this event for a little bit now, and it's finally coming to fruition. Like, I'm excited. I've never done anything about near-death experience, and it's just so exciting. And talking to some of these people already, wow, it's blowing my mind, Kathy.
Yes. Well, the thing is that everyone right now is going through lots of changes and they're going through, it's almost like, well, I'm changing my house around and eventually going to sell it. And I'm having to clear out 30 years of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's almost but everybody's doing that only on their own personal level.
Yeah.
It's not just mine are books and CDs and clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
But not all my books. I'm a bookaholic.
Trust me, I moved 3 times in 1 year. So I get the decluttering. Like, I think the universe just needed me to declutter. I mean, it was a lot, bags and bags full of stuff that I was decluttering. And so I get the purging, it's almost like a big purge.
Right. Well, the thing is, I think we're all so attached to the past.
Yes.
And when we declutter, when you look at this and go, that was my past, I can have something like it again if I want, that I love, and I don't love this right now. And that's the same thing that we're having with our thoughts and our emotions, because our emotions are coming up to be healed. And that's one of the reasons why you and I talked about doing this event, was that these people had their whole lives shattered. I mean, they physically still are burdened with whatever happened to them. And some people have multiple near-death experiences, not just one.
That's insane. And I mean, I remember reading Anita Murjani's book. That was the very first near-death experience book that I had read. And really, I was like, oh my God, like I relate to her because she came from an Indian background, even though she was living somewhere else and grew up in Singapore, I believe. But I resonated with her story so much. And that's when I first heard of near-death experience. And I couldn't believe that people can actually come out of a near-death experience feeling well again, feeling healed. I never thought that that was possible, which is truly amazing. And not that I wish upon myself to have a near-death experience ever, even though it sounds really cool. But I think that there's so much revelation and reflection that is done during that time, and so much healing can come from it. And I feel that a lot of people may not have experienced a death experience, but you have experienced some kind of transformation. And that's what happened for me, some kind of spiritual awakening transformation. So I feel like we all have our own journey, but the near death experiences are pretty cool too. And it's just wonderful to see a lot of these speakers, listening to all of their stories and seeing that there is hope for all of us, whether we've had a spiritual transformation or a near-death experience. So I'm pretty excited.
Perfect. I agree totally. I think what's also interesting is whether you've had a spiritually transformative experience, which I have. I didn't have a near-death experience that I know of. Although I was really sick at 2 weeks old. And there was an influenza in the hospital, and most of the babies died, and I made it. So I don't know anything. I certainly don't remember that.
Yeah.
But I've been fascinated with this whole near-death experience, mostly because of the language. Some of these people, like we'll go through the list of Peter Panagore. His articulation of the mystical experiences that he had and he continues to have is so profoundly um, uh, sensual almost. I want to say it's like poetry.
Oh,
Sometimes a poet will really get you, and you'll or Rumi. You listen to these statements, and all of a sudden a light bulb goes off. That's the way a lot of these near death experiencers communicate, because their viewpoint of this experience has love in it.
yeah.
It has love in every moment. And yeah, we know that we're all one, and we know that that energy is available to do whatever your heart desires. But we still have all of these constructs
Yeah.
that, whether you call it karma, whatever you call it, we have constructs that we're burning off right now. And so their articulation of their experience, somehow you go on a magic carpet ride with
Yes,
them.
yes, you do. I mean, it's just been quite fascinating how when they're telling their story, you feel like you're there as well, whether it's in the hospital or whether it's within their coma state, as they're telling their story. So it's pretty fascinating for sure. And you talk about love, right? They all come out realizing love. I find that when you go through something like a near death experience or a chronic health issue like cancer, and a lot of my clients have, that you come out a different person. You see life differently. You see that oneness a lot more clear, and that's what's so beautiful about this journey. And if we can all see that through their stories, then how beautiful would that be, right? If we can really make that connection through that, we can pick up on that energy and we can do the same thing for ourselves.
Right, right. I love the idea that you don't have to have a near death experience to open up. But I also love the timing of this. It seems that you and I, right before we came on, we were talking about so many people we know. I know two people that just are healing from pneumonia,
Mm.
and lots of people have colds, and it's not just allergy season because
No,
it's spring. People are clearing their stuff, and what we're finding is you can make a story up about all of it, or you can release it.
exactly.
And
And
these
I promise you,
people,
things come back. Things come back because I thought, just like I thought that, oh, I had healed this, and a lot of my clients are saying the same thing lately. I thought I healed that, but yet it's coming back. And sometimes it comes back with a vengeance. And it's like, okay, what needs to be looked at? What do we need to really hone in on, magnify, use our magnifying lenses, right? Like
right?
really just take it to this level where we can go deeper and really say, okay, I'm ready to heal this. I'm ready to surrender. It's not just that I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to surrender, because that's what these people did, right? With the near death experiences, they were surrendering, and I think that's what really got them to heal, right?
Right.
They were in that letting go, that surrender state. And if we can only get to that point and work on ourselves and within ourselves, when something comes up, rather than neglecting it and abandoning that feeling, whether it's an emotion or a sensation or a symptom in our body, we need to look at it a little bit deeper, because it's really saying something to us and it has a message, and we just have to listen.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Well, the other thing that I think I'm seeing as a commonality for these amazing speakers in our Awakening Beyond Life Summit that's coming up, that will show everyone the webpage, and I'm putting the banner below.
I'm in
One of the things that we're really sharing a lot about is this trusting the universe. These people came back and they were very, very directed that they have a team. They
yeah,
either have a guardian angel or they have a whole team of angels.
yes,
And that trust and courage to show up and share their story, where you have to know that, especially anyone who's a professional, that they were ridiculed for sharing their story, or they were told it was a drug induced experience, or any of those things, like, oh, poor you, you'll be okay.
yeah,
Who didn't tell their story for 20 years because they were afraid of it. Yeah. Well,
wow,
it wasn't socially accepted. You would be put in therapy, or you would be put on drugs, if you explained it. So that they had a lot of time to search and read and learn about a different kind of spirituality, maybe learn about reincarnation, because they may have come from a Judeo-Christian background and never even heard of reincarnation, you
See, it's
know?
like secondhand to me because I come from a Hindu background, and it's like, oh, reincarnation. Like, and and you brought up a great point because when I was growing up, when I would tell my friends about reincarnation, they looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, yeah, we're all reincarnated. And I just talked about it like it was no big deal. And they're like, no, she's crazy. So now that we're finding out more about this through these near death experiences, I think we're really bringing, and like you said, these are professional people. Right, who have had these experiences, and now they're out in the open, and all of these things are coming out in the open, coming to our consciousness, and that's the beauty of it, that
Yes.
the world is awakening to all of these different things, which we've known in the Vedas for a very, very long time. We've been trying to bring it out, but the Western world's like, nope, nope, we're just gonna keep our focus this way. And
Well,
now it's expanding, which I'm so happy that
yeah.
people are finally seeing the light.
Well, I think that what happened is so much of the world was colonized
Yeah,
by Europe and by England. I mean, the sun never set on the on the English Empire, and so all of the traditions that were underlying, either from the original peoples from all the lands, or or um, or from totally different backgrounds. I mean, if you look at now that they're discovering the structures underneath the pyramids, and there's a whole nother storyline going to come out. There's so much of this that is we're becoming aware of a bigger picture,
yeah,
and that's what the near death experiencers, they have their beliefs shattered about this reality, and then they're looking, when they come back, they're looking at this reality in a totally different way of what's the commonalities of everyone, rather than what's our differences. So the judgment, that whole judgment, which our ego does to keep us safe, a lot of that judgment,
they've shattered.
uh, uh, push button, it
Yeah,
just automatically comes as someone says something, I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That happens in our conversations with my husband all the time. We're having this conversation, and I'm like, that sounds a little judgmental. He's like, I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm like, it's funny because we don't really realize that we're doing that. And that's something that I personally had worked on when I started doing my spiritual work, or my authentic, like finding my authentic self. you know.
That's what this whole journey is about number one, giving everyone hope about the do-over or the replay or whatever you want to call this time we're in right now, is we can wake up and leave everything that we had that was a burden from the past, all the people we didn't forgive, all the instances that make us resent anything. We can leave all of that and wake up free of all of that and fill ourselves more with love, like these people did.
And I think we're going to get that from the summit. That I think everybody who is going to be viewing, who is going to be coming live, who's going to be watching the replay, they're going to feel the energies, they're going to see it for themselves, they're going to hear it. And we really want you to just be present with these people. We want you to take in what they're saying and see how it impacts your life. Like how, maybe you'll figure out, oh, remember a story from your life as listening to their stories, and you'll start to resonate with what they're saying. And they have so many teachings. Make sure to take all of that in, because it's such beautiful and this really pertinent information that we really do need to take in at this time on a soul level.
Mhm.
If we can just be present, just be grounded, be present, and be there for them and for ourselves during this time, then guess what? When you come out of this after watching this, you might yourself be a brand new person.
That's right. That's right. That's our hope. Well, the courage that you see when people talk about it, they aren't wavering. For instance, one of the speakers' name is Felice DiMartino, and she speaks slowly and purposefully, naturally now. I mean, much slower than I'm speaking and much more purposefully. And she got a message when she had her near death experience, and she wakes up every morning with it. I had, as I said, I had spiritually transformative experiences, and one of those that happened 20 years ago, I wake up every morning and relive it.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. So,
Wow.
so you don't have to have your body crushed to have these openings,
Yeah.
but once you have had them, it's as though a door opens to a greater opportunity for you. And that's what we really hope, that people, instead of getting stuck in complaining,
Yeah.
because the opportunity now is to create the new earth, and we want all hands on deck, all hands on deck, right?
We definitely do. And I think this will be the opening, like one of the openings to that. And, Kathy, it's true. I was just thinking about this. Like, what does happen when we die? I mean, I think that is the biggest question on people's mind, right? What happens when we die? It's like nobody knows, but we can see it through these people's experience. And you know what? It's very similar. It's very synchronized, and the same, almost the same kind of messages in a different way that we're going to be hearing them. And we're going to recognize that consciousness is not limited to just our physical body. Right?
Right.
We think that this is us, everything is material, and like you mentioned, the ego, right? Well, we have to look at it from a conscious and an unconscious perspective too, because when we look at a lot of the studies, it shows that we as humans are really on autopilot. Half the time, I can't remember where I put my keys or my purse or whatever, right? It happens
Yeah.
because guess what? We're working from the subconscious. Like 99% of us is from the subconscious. So is consciousness limited to our physical body? We're going to discover that. And what kind of healing abilities can transform, right? The senses that we pick up on from having these experiences, whether it's a spiritual transformation or a near death experience. I mean, I think that is going to be huge for everyone because each and every one of us has this innate ability to heal our bodies. And I think we forget that. We think we have to just do it through a near death experience or something just really tragic. But guess what? Like we mentioned, Kathy and I haven't had a near death experience, but we understand that these people, as well as those that are having a transformative, a spiritual transforming experience, which is what Kathy and I had. And we want to share that with you that you can have these beautiful, amazing healing abilities that are within you awaken because you're going to recognize them that, oh my gosh, I have the same ability. I've been doing it all along. I just didn't know I was doing it.
Right, right.
Right?
Yeah, yep. And what I think you're going to find is the comfort of finding these people. They may be your guides. They
Yes.
may be the people that hold the key to you unlocking the most precious part of your heart and your existence here. And that's what, while I was working on the website, I just was, sometimes I was in tears. I love these people so much because of their, number one, their courage. Is I keep saying courage because I think that's what we need to harness. But
Yes.
number two is that the opportunity for us to be all that we can be while we're here in physical is the reason I believe we stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now. And I think that, looking at all the external chaos that we're in, especially for sensitive people like myself, you have to go in. The only way to go through is through it all inside here, right?
Yes. Yes.
And these people have done that work. So when you're talking to them, they're not nervous anymore. They've told their story enough. They're
They
not
let go of that
nervous.
fear, right? And
And the articulation is a trigger for those of us that um, understand the cleanup crew that we're going through right now, because we're going through this time period to clean up all of our Saint Germain would call them obscurations, which is dark energy that's attached to the body, and they're thought forms for the most case, and they can be from multiple lifetimes. They can be from multiple generations of your family because it's all in these cells. So this is a way to walk yourself through an opportunity to change all of that and release little by little. And you'll see it isn't it it doesn't it doesn't create the same kind of release and difficulty for you if you're involved in these type of programs where you hear these people and you witness their peace of life, their inner peace and their articulation. I just keep calling it articulation, but it's a frequency, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
I
So
agree. I completely agree.
yeah, so all of a sudden they're screaming it from the rooftops. Hey, you don't have to suffer. Hey, you don't have to pay for all the wrongdoings. There is no judge and jury after you die. You don't have to be afraid. That this was supposed to be a party down here.
Yes, exactly. We just take life so seriously, and I find myself doing that at times too. So
Yeah.
we have to remind ourselves that coming, and I think this is going to be a great reminder. The summit, one of the things that I also recall is 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 the fact that a lot of these people will also share how we can be in communication with our loved ones. as they had their near death experience, who came forward? What did those loved ones have to say? What did they remind them of? And how did they connect with them? So that's going to be really, really beautiful
Yeah.
to really see that story come unfold.
So I also think that the other lesson that I've gotten from being around these people a lot is that miracles are real. That when you talked about Anita Morjani, who is not in our summit, but when you talked about her book, I mean, she was at death's door,
Oh
and
yeah,
then she went in and had a healing experience with her father who had passed, and came back and healed. I mean,
exactly.
that's a miracle healing. Dr. Eben Alexander, his is a miracle healing because up until that time period, the neurosurgeons, neuroscientists thought that the brain could not reproduce itself. If you killed brain cells, they were gone.
Yeah,
And he proved by his healing and his capacity to reincorporate his memories. They were in the field, they weren't in the physical brain. So there's so many lessons that people get. And one other thing I want people to know is that if you followed some of these incredible speakers, which we'll go to the website and show you what each one of them are talking about, they are giving us a different perspective on this summit that they have in other interviews. That we have asked them to do that. And so if you like one of these authors or healers or guides, you don't want to miss the chance to watch this.
yeah, it's going to be truly profound, and I'm really excited. I mean, like Dr. Eben Alexander, you mentioned, he was a neurosurgeon himself, and him having to go through something like a near-death experience. Like my husband read his book years ago. So even my husband, who's very analytical, black and white, he is like, when I told him that he was going to be on our summit, he was like, "What? That's awesome!" So
Yeah,
it's really exciting, the people that you have connected with, Kathy, and all of these people that, I mean, you yourself show so much courage to be out there and be there for all of us and consciousness and bringing this summit to life. So I am so happy to be hosting this with you, and
yeah.
I love you.
Yeah, I thought what we want to do seriously is be a resource for people as they're going through these changes and not get stuck. This is just walking each other home, if you want to use that term. And when you see the love and the experience that each one of these people who I adore bring to the table for humanity, for you, for your family, for your animals. I mean, you will be surprised about the frequency opportunity. Some of the people will be giving little glimpses of their tools and their toolkits. Many of these people got superpowers when they came back. So that many of them sort of got knocked into where they were really supposed to be versus where they had landed without the experience. So that's the thing, is we just want to share the blessings of these people and share the opportunity to be the best you can be the divine expression that you are, and be self-actualized that way. Now that's a journey. That's no, we're not done, or else we'd be gone. Um,
Exactly. It's just the beginning.
yeah. So Deepak, the thing that I love is that I didn't realize I'm so immersed in the near-death experience groups, and have been a volunteer for IONS for, I guess, 7, 8 years now, that I didn't realize how many people don't know about this and don't know
Exactly.
about these stories. But if you go on YouTube, you can see so many of these channels, YouTube channels that are only talking about near death experiences, right?
Well, you know what, Kathy? When I started to, the very first movie about any kind of sixth sense, I would say that I saw was Sixth Sense, and that kind of opened my mind up a little bit. But I was a teenager or whatever at that point, and then when we started, then of course Dr. Alexander's book, but I feel like what really got me interested was when you shared a couple of months ago saying, people, we really should do this because there's so many people that relate to these people's stories, and I never realized that near death was such a huge um, avenue for people to really step into their own superpowers. And I think that this is something, Awakening Beyond Life Summit is really going to be extraordinary for a lot of people in so many ways. And I can't wait to see what unfolds because there's so much scientific evidence that's going to be shown and shared, along with the unexplainable phenomenons and all the intuitive abilities that you can awaken, that are already within you, like I said, but recognizing your own superpowers. And I think that's the key here too. And not only is love your superpower, but there's so many other superpowers that you have, and it's time to awaken those as well.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So, one of the things I wanted to share also for people that you're just discovering these beautiful people from near death experiences is that there was um, an event that I was on where Reverend Peter Panagore, who's in our summit,
Mhm.
where he was speaking, and he sent it to me in a text. I'll never find it at this point; it's buried. But he said that there was I think a German philosopher or Dutch philosopher that said that since the 40s, so many people have been resuscitated. Automatically, when you go to the hospital, you automatically, try to wake you up and save your life. They don't think about, oh, should they go or should they stay? They automatically resuscitate. And he
Yeah.
said the tipping point for the consciousness of humanity is that all of these people, when you think of the thousands and thousands of people that have been resuscitated in 40 years, it's probably 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. I mean, a lot that are still here, that they are the tipping point because they're going to start to remember.
Oh,
They're
wow.
not going to stuff it. They're not going to think that it was a drug induced experience. They're going to start to remember. And when they do, humanity's frequency as a consciousness is going to elevate to the new earth.
Mm.
When they said that, it was like, well, how are we going to get enough people to wake up
Yeah.
to bring this bring this new reality in? And that's it. He has all the data on it. But isn't that cool? I mean, when you think about it, that does make sense. That
It,
if
yeah.
they experience the other side, but they don't remember, and something triggers them, like
Exactly.
listening.
I bet you that happens all the time. I was just looking at the estimated millions of people around the world that have had near death experiences. And I couldn't believe that there's 10 to 15 million people that have had near death experiences. And that's about what? Globally, 4 to 8% of the population have had
That's right.
death experiences. That's huge.
Yes, it is. But not everyone knows how to articulate it,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
not everyone is. The religion won't allow the
Exactly.
expression of it. So
Exactly.
that's where these people being courageous and stepping out of their conditioning and their programming and facing ridicule from their family
Yeah.
or friends or workplace. And because in some cases, there's communities where you're all the same religion, and that's how you all work together.
How people would think that you're cuckoo, or oh, that was probably a dream, and yeah, I think it's going to be huge. I think I definitely feel that courage is a huge part of this, and I think that other people are also going to feel courageous to come out as well. you know
Yeah,
um, I think the fear is going to be shattered in
right.
this summit, honestly.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it. We're really hoping that once you experience these people and the love that is palpable that comes from their expression, their life expression, you can feel it in their energy. Their voice carries this fractal of love that sort of hits you like Cupid with an arrow in your heart, and that's what we're planning on having as your experience. And as I said before, these people are going to share things they haven't shared before. They really are putting their effort into bringing out nuggets that will help you on your journey to, whether you're on an ascension path and you claim that, or you're just starting to go, hey, this doesn't seem right. I've got to find something that seems more aligned to me. Whether either side of that expression will benefit, right?
I agree. I agree. You know what hit me just now? I was thinking as you were talking, heaven is for real.
Right.
Remember that
Yep.
movie and book? I read the book before I even saw the movie. The movie wasn't all that good, but
Yeah.
the book was just coming from a kid perspective. How many kids are going through this? And do you believe your kids? Because I remember when my kids would say, "Oh, there's monsters in the closet," or "I have a make believe friend." Did I believe that? No, because I was working in the pharmaceuticals. I wasn't going to believe that, right? Until I came over to the other side. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt horrible that I didn't believe them. But it's the same thing. Like, we can really come over to the other side and get a perspective through a different lens when we participate in this summit. And I think it's going to be just
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for saying that. And again, our hope is that this summit is free until the 12th of April, and then you can purchase the recordings. We'll be going as fast as we can to edit everything and have it ready for you. But we're just so excited about just the expression of love that you will experience that you may never have ever experienced in your life. I mean, this is like the love that you had when you were born from your mother, and we don't ever get enough of that.
that just gave me chills when you said
I know. Well,
that.
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, the blanket of love that you feel embraced in
Yeah.
is quite remarkable. And the other thing that I want to add, just one more thing before we go to the site, is that once you experience this, there is a lot of opportunity to be in a community of people where you can learn more. And that's why I've been a volunteer at IONS. There's a conference in the end of August every year. This year it's going to be in Chicago. And I want to let you know, when you come in person with this group, it is like a bubble of love. You walk into it and it is palpable. It's like going to Sedona and walking into a vortex.
Yes.
It is palpable. And the term namaste, where the God in me sees the God in you, that is, these people can't go back to the old paradigm after they've had this paradigm shifting experience. And so you're in like a sisterhood, brotherhood community of love. And I missed last year, and I feel like I missed it a lot. I've gone almost every year since I discovered it.
When
To
is it
be
this
in
year?
that. It's the end of August. Yeah, we can put that. We'll show that. Why don't we show the website, which it's on there? Okay, so let's share screen real quick. Here we go. So let's see what you can see. There we go. Okay, so this is the event is April 5th, 3rd through the 5th. It's called Awakening Beyond Life, and as you know, beyond life is this and that.
Exactly.
Right? And so if you go to this site again, it's awakeningbeyondlife.com. This is going to give you the experts that we've, besides Deepal and I will both be sharing our gifts as well, but these are the other experts. And I'm going to go down the site a little bit so you can see what each person's offering. And then here is the information on the site about the IONS conference. I again, I want to recommend that to anyone that gets the bug, that gets the feeling. So many lives are changed. 2 or 3 years ago, I was helping with the exhibitors at the event, and I was in the bookstore, and this woman came up to me, and to make a long story short, the next year she came back and came to me and said, I changed her life. She started crying. And all I did was show her which people to go listen to at the event. Well, I found out that her 15-year-old son had committed suicide, and she came to this event to try to get in touch with him. That second year when I saw her, I connected her to Suzanne Giesemann, who did a reading for her, and she was able to talk to her 15-year-old son who had passed.
Wow.
I mean, talk about just tears streaming down people's face. So this is part of the site. You can read it yourself. I want to go straight to, and this is our sign up. Please sign up so you get to know more about it. But here, oops, I should say 15 speakers. Um, there's Peter Panagore, who's a reverend. Um, he says forgiveness after death is his talk. Fran Bailey, journey from near death and ET experiences to healing superpowers. Do you want to say anything about this one, Deepal?
Oh, Fran's story is amazing. I mean, the ET experience, that blew me because I've never heard of that before. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so only 3 or 4 of the people in our summit are pre-recorded, and Fran was one of them. So that's how Deepal knows what was going on. But Fran's about to be a grandma, and she wasn't sure when she could be there, so she pre-recorded. So the next one is Rochelle Gaiman, and Rochelle Gaiman is a medium, and psychic medium, I should say. And Rochelle did a reading for me 2, 3 years ago, and she saw my partner come into my space, and she said, oh, there's a man that has full head of hair and all of this in the reading. And I said, well, that can't be one of my dead relatives, they were all bald. And she was so sure. I said, no, I don't know anyone. I'm not sure that you got that one right. And so she sent me a picture, and it was my partner Gar. Isn't
Oh,
that wild? Oh yeah, and he was standing on the sidelines, and he wanted to come in, and we were just friends. I had no idea. Isn't that wild? Anyway, so she is remarkable. Then the next person is Brooke Grove, and Brooke is going to talk about embodying the divine feminine to heal trauma, and that is her experience. She's a multidisciplinary healer, and she does shamanic energy medicine, art therapy, quantum field work, personal neuroscience. She's brilliant and beautiful. And then, do you want to take this one,
Yeah,
Deepak?
Mark Anthony, he is the psychic explorer, and he's connected by the light from the cosmic to the subatomic. So that's going to be really awesome. It's his interview is on the 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern, and I've actually known Mark for a very long time. We used to write for the same Best Holistic Life magazine, and so I know of Mark. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to interview him. That'll be
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
he's wonderful. He definitely has taken the reason he went this. I mean, he's so brilliant as a lawyer. But he comes from a family of psychics, and so you can imagine the courage he had to come out of being in the law, to be in that industry,
Yeah,
legal
there's no
industry.
way. Yeah, that would be a battle in my head, I think.
Well, his book that he published several years ago is called The Afterlife Frequency. And
Uh-huh.
so he's really delved into, because he's so brilliant, into science and explaining the frequency of the of it, which really is a different way to look at everything.
I love it. I can't wait. And then there's Helen Fluckinger, and I hope I said his name right.
Yeah,
Creating
sort of.
this prosperity and joy after near-death experience. And so, how can we create our purpose and prosperity and joy? That's going to be pretty phenomenal to listen to.
Yeah.
I think a
And
lot of people battle with purpose, like what is my purpose? And I think he's going to give us our purpose.
well, the way I knew Kellen is I was one of his coaching clients for years. And then he had this near death experience while I was his client.
Oh,
I
wow.
watched him, and he came out of the near death experience and wrote two books right away. Like within a month, he wrote two books. And I was lucky that I got to read them and be one of his testimonials for the book. But he's a dynamic speaker.
Oh,
He spoke at last year's IONS conference, and he got a standing ovation at the
wow.
end of it. Oh, he's amazing. I love him.
And then we
Okay.
have Angela Harris. She's a teacher, and she dies and is changed by God. That's going to be different because how many teachers come out and share their experience? From her perspective, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful share.
And
Um,
yeah, and Angela is the head of the Ions Online um, part of Ions, so they have an online uh, I guess it's programs and interviews. And she is the director of groups and events and head of the online system.
yeah,
So she's heard thousands of presentations. So that's where I'm so proud of her because when I met her, I didn't even know she had a near death experience.
right. You know what? And I don't think people just come out and say I've had a near death experience, right?
Well, they do around me.
Well, okay. I mean, it's just not something people talk about, and I really hope that this inspires people to talk about it some
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And then
Every experience.
here you go. Oops, I'm sorry. It looks like I don't have the new cover. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It-
that's okay. This is perfect. So I'm going to be talking about discovering your archetype, and what do you do when doctors don't have answers? How do we find a solution? And I'm going to be sharing my experience through my spiritual transformation, going from pharmaceuticals to energy healing, energy medicine, and really honing in on your own superpowers, finding your superpowers. We've talked about that quite a bit today. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's going to find their superpowers as all of these speakers come forward and share their courage. And, you talk about courage. Yeah, I had to also have courage to go from pharmaceuticals into energy healing and then tell my family, oh, yeah, I'm doing some energy healing. I think they still don't know what I do, but that's okay.
And rightly so.
Right?
Well, they know that you're happy and that you're in your heart. You're in your
Exactly.
service. So
Exactly.
that's
They're just
yeah.
happy and happy.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, and then here's Felice DiMartino, and she's going to talk about You're the Portal and how the light changed her and what she heard. And she's been on the Shift Network, Next Level Soul. Her teachings are amazing. She was a Montessori expert,
Oh,
and in fact, there's a building named after her back east. She was hit by a truck
oh my God.
in a sidewalk. Yeah. But she goes hiking. We went hiking this past weekend. So she's all better. But
Yeah. It's amazing. Like, you know what? I don't think any of these people are, like, you could never tell
right.
that they've had such an experience.
Yes. Yeah. So we talked about Dr. Eben Alexander, and he again is just a brilliant articulator of the field that we all have the access to. And he encourages us to reconnect to it. And he does go through and share some tools. Do you want to share anything else about that, Deepa?
I think, I think that you just need to come and listen to his conversation because he gives a lot of connection between science and this other universe. And I think it was just a lot of great, powerful information, especially for people who are skeptical and want that scientific information and background. I think Dr. Eben definitely gives quite a bit of that.
Well, and also, again, he did give us things that he hasn't spoken about
Yep.
before, which is what the little wink, wink. You don't wanna miss it. And Brian Smith he's from Ohio, just like me, and he has a company called Grief to Growth because he did not have a near death experience, but he lost a child. He went to go wake up his daughter to get her ready for school, and she had passed.
I
And
love
so,
that.
oh, isn't that horrible? Anyway, and he's just a beautiful being, and he's going to share different things. Also, he also is an investor in a thing, a device called the Soul Phone. I think that's how it's called. Its name is, where you can actually connect and talk to your
Your loved one.
beings, loved ones that are on the other side. Can you imagine that?
That's awesome. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah. And this is Kimba. Do you want to talk about this a little?
Yeah, Kimba Aram, she is going to be using sound to reconnect to the higher worlds. And her background is in molecular and cellular biology. But after her near death experience, she was called to do the healing power of sound and vibration, which she's going to bring us that awareness forward as to how that all unfolded for her.
Yes, and she's cutting edge. I mean, I've experienced, I don't know if anyone's aware of the machine called the BioWell. It's a machine that you can use to test your before and after experience with any healing modality, especially with energy healing, which is kind of hard to gauge. She is a distributor for the BioWell products here. in the U.S. And you'll see very articulate, very loving, and she heard the sounds during her near-death experience, and that's how she got into sound healing.
I love
So,
it.
and then, do you want to do
Yep.
this one?
Kelvin Chin. He is my near death experience unlocks 6,000 years of past life memories. Can you imagine 6,000 years? We're like, okay, how many lifetimes have I taken? And we're thinking, oh, maybe five, maybe two, but no, 6,000 years. Wow. So that's going to be pretty awesome because just, thinking about how many lives have we really lived. And when your memory goes back that far, when a near death experience can take you that far, think of how his vibration is. Like I could just feel it just saying, talking about 6,000 years of memories coming forward. So living in your authenticity, and I bet you he's probably going to really help us explore a lot more about that through his past life.
Yes. And Calvin is a lawyer. He has 3 different nonprofits helping people, and he teaches classes on meditation and overcoming the fear of death. He is a beautiful being of light, and I know that you will be so entertained. I've taken 2 of his classes, and I love his work. I think it's a blessing for all of us.
And then there's Evan Meacham, is it?
Yes.
There is a shift happening right now. So I love that he's going to be talking about, he's a businessman and he lives in Colorado, right? That's where you
Yes.
live, right, Kathy?
Yes.
So, yep. And he was in the U.S. Air Force Reserve, and now he is going to be talking to us about a shift that is happening. And did he go through a near death experience?
Yes, he did, and I've known him for years, but I didn't know he had a near death. I just saw him as this beautiful, loving, poised man. I mean, the way he communicates, it's very clear and poised. It's almost got a different tempo to it. The peacefulness comes through. But when I met him, he was learning a healing modality that was Brazilian.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I didn't know he had a near death until later, and he is president elect for IONS next year. So, and part of the head of the crew that's putting together this conference. So he's a wonderful resource for so much information on this subject. And then there's me. I'm going to be sharing about my soul illumination process that I use that helps you reconnect to your soul. I actually have a process which I get out of my body and your soul comes through me and shows us a video of your timeline. And then we anchor in the milestones to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be to fulfill your soul mission that you selected before you embodied. So I'm the last person on this, but hopefully not the least. Well, so those are the events. Each session is listed on the website, and the time frame. There is a break at lunch. So, and there's, depending on the number of questions that we have, okay, so here Felice said, hi there, so excited for this outstanding event. Thanks, Felice. So yeah, everyone loves each other that's in this event. So you will see by the end of the day, no matter how you see this, oh, that's so sweet. She said, Kathy, testimonial for my readings, precisely aligned, resonant, and spot on. Thank you. So anyway, so what you're going to see is you're going to see the energy keep building because each one of these people know each other. No, no they don't. They're just meeting people.
Yes. Yes.
they, they love and know each other, so you're going to feel the energy of love and the excitement about being in union again. You'll see it's quite amazing. The relationships are, it's like soul family when you get back together. So
Yeah.
you'll see it deeper. You're going to love all of these people so much.
I can't wait. And I'm so excited to be a part of this, Kathy. So thank you so much.
Oh, sure, sure. And again, we want to make sure that you know where to go because we need to wrap up. It's awakeningbeyondlife.com. And the recordings we're going to be recording as we do each live. And these, again, are uh, new revelations that people have. So this isn't going to be the same old stories that you heard over and over and over again. You're going to hear things that are going to directly help you right now as you go through these challenging, changing times so that you can be the light and love that you are. So anything else, Deepak, you want to?
No, I'm just excited. I'm just taking it all in, Kathy. I just, just you talking about all of these people and how well you know them. I can't wait to submerge in their knowledge and wisdom and their energy. And so next week can't come fast enough. So, guys, I can't wait to have all of you there and really connect for 3 full days of just near death experiences, transformations, and enlightenment. Galore.
Yes, yes, and chances are, Deepak, you'll get read a couple times, and you'll see it's so beautifully orchestrated for us in our upliftment, so that we can help uplift humanity. So
I love
thank you all. Thank you all for watching, and please share this if you feel this could help your loved ones. We really want to make a difference, and we really appreciate you in any way that you're sharing it, whether it's to clear yourself and be the light, or if you share it to your community. We really appreciate it. So, okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Blessings.